I'm on a mission to create 100 leaders, 100 coaches within the DISC Academy this year. So the DISC Academy is something that I've been running now for, I don't know, 9 months, 10 months, something like that on a beta basis. And it's for people who use the DISCPlus Academy and who have, if you could mute yourself, please, that will be handy. Thank you. Um, so the DISCPlus Academy has been running on beta for a few months, and I've got a variety of different types of coaches in there already who use the DISC model of behaviour profiling to work with their clients. So for example, we've got a firm of accountants who use it. We've got a health and wellbeing coach. We've got a parenting coach. We've got a mental health coach. So it doesn't matter what you're coaching. This model works for all kind of industry sectors. We're talking about DISC because when I first was introduced to DISC about 30 years ago, at the time I was working in a big firm of lawyers in London, and I was using it for recruitment and also team dynamics, that kind of thing. And typically, DISC is used in corporate settings for bottom line numbers driven things. So if you're recruiting somebody in that's a square peg in a round hole, they're not going to last very long. So it's going to cost you a fortune to re-employ. So if you can match the type of role that you're recruiting into with the right type of candidate, then you're more likely to retain the person and of course reduce the cost of hiring. So that's one of the ways that I was using it 30 something years ago. But over the years, I've become interested in the link between how we behave and our health. And that's because of the different health challenges that I've experienced. And including reversing kidney disease that was allegedly, according to the medics, is still incurable. But I beat my kidney disease over 25 years ago, naturally, completely naturally. I've had stage 4 cancer and various other things have happened. But my personality style is that which got me into trouble, but also got me out of trouble. So I started looking at the link between behaviour profiling and our health. And there are different predispositions for the different types of behaviour styles. So we're not talking about putting people in boxes. We're looking at blends. Typically, people aren't a D, I, S, or C characteristic. They are a blend across all the styles. I'm speaking as though everybody knows about DISC here, which I assume most people will do because of the nature of the call. But I do teach people about DISC behaviour profiling if that's what's required. So this year I decided that rather than working with organisations direct myself, which I've been doing for many, many years, since I qualified as a nutritionist and biohacker many over 15 years ago, I've got more and more interested in health and well-being and prevention, which I'll talk about as we go along. So I've decided that I'm going to work with coaches because that way I have a greater outreach because the coaches work with people. So if I concentrate my efforts on the coaches and supporting them, they can support their clients, and together we have a really interesting community. And doing the maths, if 100 coaches has their client base, we could be impacting at least 10,000 lives this year, which is music to my ears. And this goes also back to a promise that I made my mother in 2015. So I just got through stage 4 cancer in under 4 months, received a phone call from the oncologist, the hematologist actually. I had stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma, and mum wouldn't let go of my hands until she made me promise that I would tell people how they too could reverse serious illness and injury and disease and whatnot. And I didn't know how to do it. I said, yes, I promise. Sadly, 6 weeks later, my mum died suddenly. And it took me quite some time to work out how to do that. And that's where I've come full circle with the DISCPlus, linking that with health and well-being from my personal experience, from my promise, and all the training I've done over the years. So let's have a look at the next slide if we can get there. And the thing is frozen. There we go. So as I mentioned, I'm looking at the coaching potential in particular. So you might be a well-being coach, you might be a nutritionist, you might be a leadership coach, a team coach, executive coach, whatever type of coach we're talking about. And I'm keen to increase the awareness of the well-being through the DISC profiling. So here's some of the ways in which DISC can help an organisation to become more healthier. That's bad English, isn't it? But you know what I mean. So in improving communication. So the different personality styles all have different ways of communicating. You see in the middle of the chart here, the slides, you've got dominance. High D people are focused on the bottom line and quick results. They don't like shilly-shallying about. They get straight to the point, go straight for the jugular, so to speak. They're high I's, the influencers. They're full of energy. They're socially focused. They have big ideas, very inspiring, influential people. We have the conscientious. No, we do this. The S next. The DIS is slower paced. The S and the C are both slower paced. They like slower conversations and steady support, and that's because they do things properly rather than slapdash. D's and I's tend to rush on things. Imagine the hare and the tortoise. So the D's and the I's are the hare and the tortoise. The S and the C's are more the so yeah. So the hare and the hares are the top ones, and the tortoises are the S and the C's. And there's no negativity on this. You can't have a bad profile. You have what you have, and it's about understanding how your profile strengths can work within the team that you're working with, whether it's a family, whether it's husband and wife, spouses, partners, whatever, whether it's a school setting, whether it's a team organisation, whether it's a sports team, doesn't matter, any industry sector. Cross section can apply. So communication definitely is one of the things. Enhancing workplace dynamics. I used to use this in corporate for forming teams for different projects. Sometimes you want a project to be full of the tortoises. Other times you need quick action and you want the hares coming in. So it depends upon the type of project. Also, conflict resolution. Sometimes team members fight one another verbally. You can help to unravel what's going on when each of the people see their own profiles and can understand why they are upsetting each other, and agree to just disagree sometimes, but at least they understand one another. It also helps leaders to adapt and tailor their feedback based upon the different styles of people in their team. Quite often I find when I have been profiling, I've profiled thousands of teams over the years, and I find that the leadership team always have different profiles to those members in the team. And that also causes communication problem, because you don't know where the kind of ruffles in the conversation are. Quite often what leaders say and what their intention is and what the team members hear and do as a result can be quite an eye-opener and different. Higher retention. So if you've got people who are happy, valued and understood, they're more likely to stay with you. And of course, stress and burnout can be prevented if you've got alignment within the individuals, within the teams. So this day and age, I'm all about prevention, rather than years ago, I used to counsel and coach people who also had got through, well, they were in the journey of stage 4 cancer. I'd got through, I've been through 4 different versions of cancer. So I've got lots of different stories and experience on how cancer starts in the first place, but also how we can reverse it. This day and age, I am into prevention rather than wait till things drop off. Let's stop it happening in the first place. And the DISC profiling is one of the ways that I do that. So we've got DISC profiling as a hub, so to speak, and we can look at it in various different ways, with the teamwork, with the leadership, productivity, change management, HR, all that kind of stuff. And the health and well-being is the biggest thing for me in all of this. So traditionally, profile companies charge per profile. I've spent over 20 years and many, many thousands of pounds paying to use somebody else's license on the profile. or paying per profile. And a few years ago, I created my own system, or I had developers create my own system following years trying different university students, different consultants, trying to create a model. Eventually, I think it was about 6 years ago, finally, no more than that. Anyway, I've got my own model. So what I'm doing now is making my model available to coaches on an unlimited basis. So the traditional model, paying per profile, means that a lot of clients, a lot of coaching clients don't get profiled because of the cost. Whereas very often coaches will profile the leaders because they're getting a higher fee for it, where the team members get lost in the pile because they're not deemed worthy or cost effective. Return on investment doesn't pay. So my aim is to offer a flat fee, unlimited access model, which seems to be working well in the beta testing. So that way we can have everybody in an organisation or a sports team, wherever there's need, people can be profiled without worrying about the cost. So typically, as I've mentioned, the costs have been variable as well, because a lot of the profiling companies, they will only give you, a lot of them work on dongle credits or credits now. So they will only give you a certain part of the profile report. And then if you want the full report, you have to pay more money. So I've created a system where it's literally a flat fee. It's £99 per month per coach. You can then use that system as much as you like. Currently, it's a report that I've created, and I've been using it for quite some time now. I updated it last year. No doubt it could be updated again. In the latter part of this year, there will be a white label version that people can have, and you can have your own style of reports. But you're using my model of the IT tech side of things. So we're looking at increasing the availability of profiles, but still keeping the same cost. So if you're a coach, you can charge per profile. Currently, and for the past few years, I charge £299 for a behaviour profile and feedback video call with me and guidance. So just that alone, if you did one profile a month, you would be more than return on investment. So what I've discovered is that our health and well-being goes along kind of on a plateau, but there comes a point where people can't continue at the pace that they're working. We work at a very fast pace. The world is speeding up no end, and it's a different world now than when I started profiling 30 odd years ago. Completely different. When I first got trained, I was using pencils, rulers, doing maths, working things out, joining lines, all sorts of things. Now we have computers, thankfully, and it's much easier. It's very simple, just to click up a few buttons and you have a profile assessment. 24 questions, and it takes about 10 minutes, and it's directly online. So there's no intervention for the coach required other than giving the URL link to the client. So what happens is people bumble along with their behaviour pattern, not knowing what their triggers are. There will be patterns, there always are patterns, but a lot of people just go from one disaster to another. If they know, when they know what their behaviour pattern is, what their triggers are, then they can be more in alignment with who they are. But what happens typically is people go to work or present in public different to how they are at home. So they have this mask. It happens to students and peer pressure, etc. They behave in a way they think they should be behaving. So some people do it conscientiously, some people consciously, some people do it at a subconscious level. But where there is the mask going on, that causes a problem. So everybody is adaptable to a point, but we're all susceptible to certain health conditions based upon our initial behaviour profile, which has started, by the way, from the age of about 7. The Jesuits have a saying, "Give me the boy till he's 7, and I'll give you the man." So we carry on. Maybe we're masking, maybe we're not. But for those people who are masking, Short term, it's not a problem, but longer term, if you're not behaving in your true style at work, at home, everywhere you show up, then the gap between the internal person and the external mask, that's where the problems arise in health and well-being. And some people think, oh, Fred's just had a heart attack, it was sudden, or Mary's just had a cancer diagnosis, wasn't that sudden? No, this builds up year in, year out, year in, year out. And then there comes a point where the health situation becomes untenable. So my aim is to show coaches how to use a DIS model so that they can intervene with the individual, with the team member, with the leadership, whatever, and intervene before the health problem strikes. Because once the mask gets tired, shall we say, then everything drops. Physical collapse, medication comes in, long-term diagnosis, etc., etc. So I can show you who is at risk. I recently profiled, for example, I recently profiled a team of 12 in the accountancy profession. Of the 12 people, 5 were sick as parrots. And obviously, imagine the impact that that would have on their own health, their family, the stress, and the bottom line of the business. So it's not rocket science to work out that if we can intervene sooner, then we can help people, businesses, families. So it's all about being authentic. So when we're authentic and we understand our behavior profile and we are in balance biologically, then we are really, truly resilient. So I've created something called the Godly Health Method. Again, I've been doing this for years and years and years. I've only just given it a name, but basically without balance, you will become ill, and that's guaranteed. No question whatsoever. You need to be in balance. But a lot of people don't know where the balance is. They're guessing. They're listening to other people. They're not listening to their own bodies and their own behavior characteristics, and they're not seeing the patterns. So the Godly Health Method has 5 pillars. We start with the behavior profile, which looks at where the specific traits, stress triggers are, and I demonstrate how that's blocking healing. We talk about nutrition. I'm a qualified nutritionist, as I mentioned, so my preference is for organic, fresh food, nothing processed, etc. We look at the mindset and the resilience factors. When your mind is strong, your body is strong. There's a saying, where the mind goes, the body follows. We also use science-backed testing. So I use hair analysis and I use blood analysis, and it depends upon what level within the Godly Health Method that the individual wants to go to. So we can identify the stresses on the behavior profile. We can help people understand their profile and set them on the right path. Or if they want to go further down the track, we can actually show them where the health challenges are coming from. And the testing side of things, it shows what's going on in the body. So it's science-backed. It's a sample taken at home, either a finger prick blood test or a hair sample from the back of the head, the nape of the neck. That goes off to a laboratory. I get results, and I explain to people what's going on, what they can do to fix themselves, what foods to have to change to, what foods to stop having, what lifestyle tweaks to make, etc. And of course, during the period, I've been doing this myself. I do my own hair analysis. I've been doing it for over 25 years. And that's how I beat these, so say, incurable illnesses. So there is a direct link between biology and the culture. So the biology is a behavior and the physical health link. So the biology is what's going on in your metabolic biology, your body, what's going on in your mental state. That when that's in alignment, the person is kinder, happier, healthier, more understanding, and that leads overall to a fundamentally more healthy workplace. So these are the 2 things that we do. The HTMA, which is the hair tissue mineral analysis. It looks at the mineral imbalances. I did a talk recently, talking about and questioning the whole menopause story. I used to run a radio show, used to be a host on a weekly radio show in the UK, and I often had experts coming in that I interviewed in the studio, and some of them were menopause experts. And we all agree if you're going into the menopausal years healthy, you won't have any symptoms. And we have so much, well, I call it whining. On the post, I said, stop whining on LinkedIn. People moaning and groaning, blaming menopause for everything. It's very often, yes, menopausal years, of course, and our body changes. But when you know what your body's up to, then you can take the necessary steps. You can eat the right foods, stop wasting money on supplements, a whole kind of stuff. And then for those who want to go even deeper, the dry blood analysis confirms what's happening on a metabolic level, and also what's happening on a deeper level with your organs and within your blood, etc. I've done a couple of case studies recently where we've had high-flying people who have been literally burning themselves out. Both of them, the recent case studies, were ladies of a certain age and showing up various different mineral imbalances. We fix those, and then the menopause symptoms go away. So again, it's not rocket science, but this isn't stuff that we're taught day to day. So when somebody's operating in a supportive environment that they feel understood, they're likely to prevent burnout, improve mental health, and of course their overall health is going to be a lot better. And of course that impinges on the overall workplace and work colleagues as well. And of course you take that home to your families if you are in the workplace. So just to summarise, the Health Academy, it's the DISCPlus Academy rather, is aimed at those who use the DISC profile model, or I do training on that. So if you don't know the DISC model, I can train on that. But ideally, people who are already using it, and you're able to run unlimited profiles at a base cost per month, which can then increase your revenue as well as increasing the reach that you have with more team members you can profile, or sports team members if you're in the sports arena. And the Godly Health method is part and parcel. It kind of naturally leads on. So looking at behaviour profile and these scientific testings, which is an add-on. So if you're a health coach, then that may be of interest to you. But I wanted to explain it today to show how it all links up and where my driver is from. So we can reduce staff over, we can proactively prevent burnout, we can even show savings on employee health schemes. So if you're not having, if you don't need to pay for, key man insurance, your people are healthy, then you're going to save a fortune on that. And the stats show that there's about a 3-to-1 average return on health investment against insurances that are paid out, not paid out, are invested in health schemes. So the way it works is you receive a link that you give to your clients, which provides you with unlimited access to the profiling model. The report itself is about 20 pages, gives all sorts of information on the individual and other styles as well as their styles. We have weekly live check-in checks. We have a Zoom call on a Monday lunchtime where we look at the profiles, we interpret, we discuss case studies and discuss how to give feedback if we have some tricky cases, which sometimes crops up. And we have a dedicated WhatsApp group as well. So everybody supports one another, and they're all learning together. So that's it. So you can book a call with me. My calendar is tidycal.com/Elaine Godley. You can email me, elaine@discplus.health, and we can have a chat now. You can contact me on LinkedIn, Elaine Godley, the DISC profiler on LinkedIn. And if you would like to have your own behavioural profile, first of all, just to see how it works, then you're very welcome to contact me via any of these routes. So if anybody would like to ask any questions, then feel free. Hopefully that will make sense, and feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.